Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over the Atlantic to America once again, and this is going to be yet another first for you here on the channel. So apparently this will be the first ever beer that I've reviewed from the state of Virginia. I didn't think that was the case, but I had a little quick flick through the channel and the American beer playlist that I have, and there was nothing from Virginia. So for my first review from Virginia, we're going to go to the state capital, which is Richmond, and we're having a taste of a beer from Triple Crossing Brewery. And for me, being a Swedish Scot, this one is kind of aptly named, if you like. So this one is the Valhalla. It's a double IPA coming in at 8% ABV, and apparently it's 100% hopped with Citra, which is never a bad thing. It kind of reminds me actually of the Raw Power that I had from Ebertoft Gård Brewery in Denmark, and that was a really nice beer actually. So hopefully this is one that kind of follows on from that actually. But yeah, we'll see how we get on with this one. Really curious to try my first beer from Richmond, or for my first beer from Virginia actually. I think the closest beers that I would have had to this brewery would either be from North Carolina or from DC Brau in Washington DC, of course. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Triple Crossing Brewery. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the home page and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the American beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Triple Crossing Brewery then, on to my brewery notes quickly. So Triple Crossing Brewery, as I mentioned to you, are based in Richmond in Virginia, and they were founded by childhood friends Jeremy Vertis, Adam Wooster and Scott Jones back in 2014. So they're just around 5 years old at the moment. So Jeremy is the brewer, and apparently when he was younger his family lived in Germany because his dad was stationed in the army over there, and when they returned to the US their experiences with German beer had inspired them to start home brewing for themselves. And Jeremy said it was just kind of crazy for him to sit and watch them actually making their own beer, because you know at that time when compared to America, you know, there would be a hell of a lot of different beer choices in Germany compared to what was going on in the States at that time. But when he went to university he tasted Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and this really reignited his interest in beer, and then he started home brewing for himself on the hush hush. But Scott has a background in IT, and he joined the company full-time in 2016, while Adam has a background in financing and marketing, and together they both deal with the business side of the brewery. Apparently Jeremy had joined in was joined in with the home brewing by Adam, but it was Scott that really persuaded the two of them to take the plunge and turn professional and drive their brewing exploits, if you like, into a fully professional company. But when the brewery started out they were very small and draft only actually, but they started with a very small brewery in downtown Richmond that only had a 7 BBL capacity, but they later opened a new facility, a much larger and shinier facility if you like, at Fulton in the southeast of the city, and this is equipped with a 20 BBL brew kit. At each of their locations they offer cans, crowlers, which are the big massive can things, and growlers, and they also offer you know, apparently stone baked pizza as well. Apparently their food service there is all about the pizzas. So yeah, quite an interesting one this. If you look at the photos of both of the facilities, they both look very nice. The original one looks like this very old kind of classic brick building, American brick building. It's always like these images you have of the movies when you see the old, you know, the big massive cars that are good at driving in straight lines go right down the street, and you always see these brick buildings along the side. Their old location looks very much like one of these brick buildings you see in the American movies, but their new ones are much more kind of shiny and fancy kind of thing, if you like. It's one of these almost kit buildings that they've just built up. But yeah, as I say, a really interesting brewery this one. They're supposed to be one of the best breweries from what I gather in Virginia when I was having a little read through. These guys started up when there was only two or three other breweries in Richmond, so they have been there for a good since a good point in time, I guess you could say. But they've got a good range of different beers. You can check those out on the Untappd page, of course. There was quite a few listed on there. They seem to have weekly releases and stuff like that as well, which is which is really interesting too. So they are a very prolific brewery, and they've got a host of different styles as well. So if you get the chance to try some of their beers, then have a go at them and just see what you think. I was very lucky to come across this one in Copenhagen. I bought this at Kiosk incidentally, so yeah, definitely a shop you need to check out if you're over there. I go over there at least, you know, once every 2 months or something like that, and I always come back with a good couple of goodies. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, of course, you can check out the brewery website in the description below, and of course you can follow them on Facebook and Untappd and things like that. So yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork very briefly, because it is quite plain on this one. There you can see the Triple Crossing Brewery. Apparently they named it Triple Crossing just, it was sort of to commemorate their friendship, the three of them were saying. So the Triple Crossing name is derived from the three of them having been friends for so long. But there you can see Valhalla, of course, named after the Vikings' heaven, which is a very good place to go, because when you die, you basically go there, you have a good fight, you have a good shag, and you have a lot of beer to drink. So yeah, definitely one of the better places to go to rather than being 6 feet under. So yeah, nicely presented beer, this one. It's 16 fluid ounces, 1 American pint, which I think in real people measurements is 473 millilitres, I want to say. But yeah, so yeah, should be a really interesting one. So I guess without further ado, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. There's the top of the can. It doesn't say bottled on the 5th of February 2019, so it has been in the can for a little bit actually, but it should still be fairly fresh. I always find with the New England IPAs, if I can get it open, that you need to give these a little bit of time in the can just to let the green part of the hops drop a little bit and make the beer just that little bit more juicy. But yeah, let's get it out and we will get on with the tasting then. So as you can see, this one is going to be a really nice hazy beer. As I was saying, from what I gather, this one is hopped 100% with Citra, which of course is one of these big hops that everybody loves these days, and you can really smell some of these lovely oaty creamy notes coming out of this one as we open it up. So yeah, as you can see, this beer has poured extremely hazy. This is one of these ones that just looks like mango juice or something like that. You can see there's a solid 2/3 finger of a frothy white head. It is actually a little bit bumpy, to be honest with you. There are some bigger bubbles in there. 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of the head there. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see exactly how hazy this beer is. It really is pretty impressive, the level of haze that this one has. But yeah, nothing particularly surprising about this one. In terms of its colour, I would describe it as being more of a yellowy colour rather than being orange. It's maybe appears a little bit orange in the middle, but definitely more of a kind of yellow colour, this one, rather than anything else. But yeah, nothing particularly surprising about this beer in terms of its appearance. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this one. Oh yeah, that smells really nice. So recently you would have seen me review Heady Topper from The Alchemist up in Vermont, which was one of the first New England IPAs. And it's interesting when you try ones like this and you just see how the styles evolve, because I found that those ones had really high IBUs to them, and it seems that over time that this style has just evolved a little bit, and the IBUs have dropped a little bit and it's become more fruity and juicy, but also creamier and slightly sweeter in the malt base as well. And so when you come to beers like this, these were the New England IPAs that I started drinking. Of course, the first ones that we got here in Sweden were the ones from Stigbergets, and then the Oppigårds and Brewski were the other brewery that were doing these too. So yeah, just bear that in mind when you try these beers. These are a lot more of the kind of hazy, sort of creamy things. It's a different ball game from the original New England IPAs, and as I say, it's just interesting to see how this style has evolved. But in terms of the aroma then, with this one, you get that nice, smooth, white bready wheat thing out of this one from the very beginning. You can really smell some of the creaminess of the oats in there as well, and there's a little bit of an almost biscuity quality coming out of the beer too. But yeah, the fruity side of this one is really nice. I mean, Citra, when it's on its own, it's a very soft and very juicy smelling hop. I mean, straight away I'm getting some mangoes out of this. There's a little bit of a kind of peachy apricot thing going on in there as well. I also want to say there's a little bit of a lychee gooseberry thing too. So there's a lot of different fruits. Citra's a very complex hop, and depending on what you mix it with, you can get completely different things from it. I mean, if you mix it with Mosaic, you might get it appearing like a little bit more limey and stuff like this. But when it's on its own, I always find you get some really nice mango notes, a little bit of a peachy apricot-y kind of thing, and also some of these lychee and gooseberry kind of qualities out of it. And that's precisely what's coming out of this beer. On the green side of the hops for me, it has a little touch of a floral aromaticity to it, but mainly it's a lighter sort of grassy kind of vibe that's coming out of this beer. But really, to me, this one smells like one of the smooth, sort of sweet New England IPAs rather than anything else. It's got a lovely, it's got just a lovely, juicy, kind of smooth, creamy aroma to it, which is what I've actually become accustomed to with the New England IPAs. When I did try Heady Topper for the first time, it really wasn't what I expected at all. It's amazing how this style has evolved over the couple of years that it's been around. But yeah, as I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. But for me, in terms of the New England IPA, very creamy, nice, juicy, fruity aroma, this one. So without further ado then, let's get stuck into this beer and see how we got on. This is the Valhalla, coming in at 8%, a double New England style IPA from Triple Crossing Brewery in Richmond in Virginia. My very first beer that I've ever tried from the state of Virginia in America. Let's get stuck into this one. Slàinte, skål. Yeah, that's a really nice beer. This is one of these ones where it's quite simple in what it's trying to do, but it just does it very well. You know, some beers can be overly complex. They don't need to be anywhere near the level of the complexity that they actually are. This one, to me, comes across as quite simple, but just being very, very well crafted. You know, sometimes that's the route that you have to take, but I'll say straight away, just even on one sip, for me this one gets a big thumbs up. So well done to Triple Crossing Brewery for this beer. This is nice. Yeah. If you come across this a can of this, just pick it up and have a go. I was a bit worried about this, to be honest, because when I was in Chios, quite a lot of them had dents in them, and I thought, I hope that doesn't damage the beer, but I was told they were fairly fresh into the fridge, so they should be fine, and yeah, absolutely it is. But yeah, with this beer, the thing that's going to strike you quite away with this one is just how smooth the oaty side of the beer is. It's almost got a little bit of sweetness in it. It could almost be, it's not as anywhere near as sweet as you would get from a full milkshake IPA, right enough, but it just has a little element of that slightly lactosey, milkshakey thing, which is very nice. Yeah. It's a lovely beer, this one. It's ridiculously drinkable, and that's one of the things with these New England IPAs. A lot of them can just be ridiculously easy to drink. But let's try and break the flavour of this one down a little bit then. So in the middle of your palate, you're just going to feel this nice, smooth, white bready, wheaty thing. That blankets the middle of your tongue. On top of that, you start to get the oaty creaminess on top of that. And there's a really good balancing act going on here between the creaminess of the oats and the smoothness of the wheat. And it really gives the beer a very, very nice middle of the palate. It's one of the nicest and smoothest New England IPAs that I've had in a little while, actually. So bear that in mind with this one. I always like my beers to have a good little bit of malty presence to them, and the presence that this beer has is really quite nice, actually. And it's always cool, you know, I try a lot of Danish and Swedish New England IPAs, and when you try the ones from America themselves, this one, I guess, you know, Virginia isn't actually New England. I'm sure technically Virginia is considered as one of the southern states, now that I think about it. I'm not sure about that. It might be Kentucky that's the first one in the south. Do correct me on that in the comments below if you're watching from America. I apologise if I'm getting things the wrong way around. But yeah, it's always interesting to compare the ones we get in Europe to the ones that they're producing in America, because the ones that we get are ridiculously close to this, which is always a good thing to see. So yeah, but this is a really lovely, smooth mouthfeel. In the very centre of your palate, there's a little touch of a biscuity note to this one as well, almost like a McVitie's Digestive, which is a really nice little edge to the beer. Yeah. The malt base in this one is really quite simple, but it's just very, very well done. It's got a nice body to it, this beer. That's probably a good way to sum it up. On the hoppy side of things then, back corners of the palate, you've got a little subtle bit of earthiness in there. Citra will just give you a very, very mild earthiness, but as you kind of come forward along the sides of the tongue, you can feel that there's a little touch of a floral note coming out of this one. It's not spicy or anything, it's just got a nice, slightly aromatic quality to it. And then round the very front curve of the palate, it's just a little bit lighter and grassy. And I mean, by no means is this beer going to blow the head off you in terms of IBUs. You're lucky if you're talking 30 IBUs in this beer. It's quite low on its ABV content, but that's kind of what we've become accustomed to with the New England IPAs these days. The fruity side of this beer is really where it gets interesting, and Citra is a hop that can really stand on its own and deliver some really nice things. So for me, the fruity side of this beer, as I always say, the fruity esters from the hops come out in that little oily bubble behind the front curve of your tongue. You've definitely got a little bit of a kind of mango note to this one. I want to say there's a little bit of a kind of papaya or sort of apricot-y kind of thing going on in this beer as well. It's got a really nice tropical fruit complexity to it, but it's very light and very, very smooth, I would say. But mango's dominating the palate. Papayas, apricots, something like that, just as you move a little bit further forward. And as you get just towards the very front of the tongue, you've got a little bit of this kind of lychee sort of thing going on, maybe even a little bit of gooseberry like I was picking up in the aroma as well. But the thing with this beer is it's all about how these flavours fit together. It's got a lovely body, it's got a good little bit of malty presence to it as well, which I quite like. And everything in this beer goes together. The smoothness of the mangoes goes really well with the creaminess of the oats, and just the nice smoothness and slightly fresh quality that you get from the grassy side of the hops, the floral side of the hops, is really nice as well. This is one of the New England IPAs that I've tried recently that has a very good balance to it, and sometimes that is the route you need to take. Some of them can be very bold and pushy in one regard, but to me this is one of these beers that really is just quite nicely balanced. And at 8%, the one thing that you could say about this is that it is ridiculously easy to drink. So let's focus on the mouthfeel of this beer a little bit then. The flavour is very straight up, but it really works well actually. Overall, I would say that this beer is really quite smooth actually. Yeah, this beer's got a lovely kind of creamy, smooth mouthfeel to it. Carbonation's very, very smooth in this one. It has a little touch of an oily quality to it, but mainly this is a smooth, creamy mouthfeel that you're going to get out of this beer. In terms of hoppy bitterness, as I said, I think you're lucky to get 30 IBUs out of this beer. It's just got a nice little subtlety to it. The further you go into the aftertaste, you can feel a little bit of the floral quality just pushing its way out of the beer a bit more, but the malt base stays very smooth and quite sweet. The more and more you drink of this beer. But yeah, nice little bit of hoppy bitterness in there, but by no means is it going to blow the head off you. Lovely smooth base to the beer, but it becomes a little bit sweeter on top of that, and you've got some nice juicy fruity qualities in there as well. But overall, this is a really nice take on the New England IPA style. At 8%, it's ridiculously easy to drink, and to me, this one's got one of the best kind of malt adjunct. I guess the oats are considered adjunct rather than part of the malt base, but this one is one of the best balanced New England IPAs I've had in a little while actually. I really like how this one goes together. As we always say, beer is subjective, but in my opinion, this is one that really does kind of hit the spot for me, and it really shows the Citra hop very well. For those of you drinking this beer in Europe, if you've had the raw power from Abeltoft Gård Brewery in Denmark, this is one that I think really reminds me of that beer. It's very, very well done. If you like the ale farm beers from Denmark as well, then I guess this is one that will suit you, although it's a little bit more kind of oaty than theirs. I find theirs are a little bit more kind of lactosey, dextrosey, but this one has a similar kind of smoothness to it actually, but it's got a lovely body to it, and it's just nice, this beer. Have a go at this for yourself and see what you think, and of course it's cool to have found such a good quality beer from another state in America too. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This is the Valhalla, a double New England IPA, only with Citra hops at 8% ABV from Triple Crossing Brewery in Richmond in Virginia. Really nice, and really lucky to find this one in Kiosk in Copenhagen, and hopefully I can review more from these guys at some point in the future. But thank you once again for watching. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Triple Crossing Brewery as well. and hopefully I can return to them in the near future, and hopefully I can review a few different breweries from Virginia at some point soon as well. But thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Valhalla from Triple Crossing Brewery in Richmond in Virginia in America. A lovely, very smooth Citra Hop double IPA this one. Until the next time, Slanger just now, and I'll catch you guys later. Skål.